And I remember he had a knife in his right hand, so I said to myself, when I turn around, I'm gonna try to deflect the knife by doing that. As I've done that, he took a step back and just went bang in my neck. So I grew up in Tottenham, that's the North London area. My mum was always around, my dad was there. I had a lot of brothers, a lot of sisters. My friends that I grew up with, you know, like a lot of them was into, you could call the bad boy lifestyle, do you know what I mean? Like it's no secret, like I ran with the best of them. I went in a gang, but I'd hang around with a whole lot of gang members, like that was no secret.
So tell me about that first stabbing then.
My sister phoned me, she was crying. And I was like, what's wrong, sis? And she's like, she started to explain that her and her boyfriend like had an argument that got kind of physical. I must have went down to a place in Tottenham called Broadwater Farm. I'm just a young guy, you know, I come from a big family. I've never lost a fight, I'm not a bully, but at the same time, I'm gonna defend my sister, right? So as I've got out of the car, he pulled out his gun. And I've walked up to him and I said, you're gonna shoot me and live away with that, bro? He put the gun back in his waist. And what I've done, I've literally, so you can imagine he's got the gun in his waist. I've put my hand over the gun and kind of latched my finger into his trousers like that and held it like that. So I know there's no way he can move that gun. And then I was in his face and we were just talking. I'm saying, brother, if you wanna fight someone, fight me. And then at that time, my friend that's been in jail for like, I don't know, he's in jail for a lot of years. I heard Faron and I turned around, I saw my friend. I was like, yo, what's going on? And like I embraced him to say hi. And then about 30 seconds after I heard, oi, I got stabbed in my chest where my heart would have been, under my arm. Do you know what I mean? It was like places where there's vital organs in my belly. So I believe that he had intentions to really hurt me.
Why did you not report it to the police?
I'll be real. The police are something I've never done in terms of reporting stuff, you know. I've grown up on the streets, my family's from the streets. I ran the streets, like I've still got bad boy friends, you know what I mean? But it just weren't a part of who I was, like to call police. I knew the family, they knew me. We came to our arrangements, everything settled down, and that was the end of it.
Could you now talk about the second time?
I got a phone call from my girlfriend and she's like, I could just hear a lot of commotion in the background. She basically said she'd gone to an altercation and a guy hit her. So I went back to find my girlfriend. So I got back there and the person that hit her was just standing there like he'd done nothing wrong. So I've confronted him and I said, bruv, like, why are you hitting my girlfriend for? And then basically, me and him got into an altercation. We had a fight, just a physical fight. It happened in the shop. And then I remember coming out of the shop. I went to the car to get back into the car and something just said, look behind you. I looked behind me and I just saw this guy with the longest kitchen knife. I just remember it like a big silver kitchen knife. I remember him chasing me. So I started to run around the car trying to get away from him. So every time I got to one side of the car, he was kind of like on the next side of the car with the knife. And I was like, damn. And then he opened the car door. And at that time, he opened the car door to where my missus was sitting. So I'm like, damn. Now he's going towards her with a knife. At that time, so I've jumped back over towards the car to start fighting him again to defend her. And I remember he had a knife in his right hand. So I said to myself, when I turn around, I'm gonna try to deflect the knife by doing that. As I've done that, he took a step back and just went bang in my neck. It felt like a circuit broke. I had a big flash of white. I went bing, and I just heard my ears ringing like, Ming! I didn't know what was going on. And after that, as soon as he'd done that, my arm just dropped to the side, boom. And then he's come at me and he started stabbing me again. And then he stabbed me and I fell on the floor. This is when he stabbed me across my chest here. After he stabbed me twice, so the first stab I got was in my neck, then the second stab in my neck, and then I got stabbed in I got a big scar across here, he stabbed me there. I believe because I got stabbed the first time and I had something to kind of compare it against, I knew that I was already in much more trouble than the first time, if you know what I mean. the blood, the pain, not being able to move my arm. And after that, I went straight from thinking I've been defeated to I can hear police sirens. Yeah, so the policewoman stops me and she's like, what's going on? We heard there's a fight. I was like, no, there's no fight. I'm cool. She's like, no, listen, we heard there's a fight here. You're involved, cream jacket. And after she looked at me and she went, cold red, multiple stab wounds, Like, my top was just turning red by the second, but I got a cream thing and I remember my neck's cut, my belly's cut. I'm like, everywhere's blood's just coming through me now. She's like, cold red. She put me on the floor. She's like, get an ambulance. And next thing I remember, they put me in an ambulance. The first thing I kept saying to the doctor, I can't move my arm. Why can't I move my arm? They didn't care about that because at that time, I'd already lost 40% of my blood. So they were just trying to stop me from losing blood now. The last thing I remember hearing was my mum scream. And I remember trying to put myself to have a strong face, like there's nothing wrong with me. But do you know what I mean? My mum in it. And then after that, I just remember waking up 2 days later in a hospital. So the doctor sat me down and he said to me, Faron, I've got good news for you, I've got bad news. He said, you have got a severe nerve damage, it's been cut straight through. But the good news is, I said, what's the good news? He said, 1% of the whole human population's got your body structure. I said, what do you mean? He said, I have 6.2 billion people, only 1% like you. He said, your arteries are under more muscle, you have spare nerves that we can use, and we feel you've got a heart rate under 60 beats a minute. And we really do believe that you can have a good recovering rate if we do the surgery we're gonna do. I'm talking about my arm was dead. Like, I couldn't even move it. Like, I was burning my hand and not realizing until the next day until I had blisters. That's how bad it was. So I had to build up everything again, from my emotions to my mindset to my physical, just to get back to where I could be, you know.
How long did the rehabilitation take?
I'd say physically, it took the best part of 5 to 10 years. Nerves grow back a millimetre a day, and you got to assist that with diet, good diet and sleep and physiotherapy and goodwill, do you know what I mean? It's not easy.
And could you just explain to us how many times you were stabbed in total?
Oh, so literally, it's weird, man, because it's just loads of nines. I had 9 children in my family. I got stabbed 9 times on one occasion. I got stabbed 9 times on the other occasion. So altogether, I got stabbed 18 times.
It would be great if you could first explain to me how you kind of started off your anti-knife crime.
So I started to do little social media vlogs, Facebook here and there, and it's just me giving advice about the life I've been through and how children can avoid getting in the same situation and just various little things. And after a while, I sat down and said to myself, you know what, I'm sitting down doing these videos, yeah, and all I've got to do is scroll up the Facebook feed, and then I'm going to see someone that's been stabbed and killed. I just felt like it just felt so pointless to me. So I sat down to myself and I thought, how can I help this situation more? And I said, okay, if I could take these knives with these children, the way I see it, if you ain't got a knife in your hand, you can't use it. And if any child is going to come to the point where you're saying, you know what, I want to hand you my knife, you've already started a mental transition for the better because you're deciding to give the knife away, right? So I was trying to come up with a way that would be beneficial to these kids. I don't really want to be giving people money for a Rambo knife that they're going to go and exchange, buy another one with, or buy something silly with, you know what I mean? So I said to myself, all right then, JD Sports vouchers. I said, what young child wouldn't want a £20 off of their pair of trainers? Do you know what I'm saying? For that Rambo knife that's been in their house just sitting there for the last 4 years that no one cares about. So I put that out, and literally from 2019 to this day, I'm inundated with messages about collections. And it's not only the young people who I started my target audience with, it's just become a whole community thing. I've got parents, I've got social workers, I've got children, I've got members of the public that find stuff, and they contact me to get rid of them.
Initially, how did the police react to what you were doing?
The police react. I was getting arrested, I was getting handcuffed, I was getting literally strip searched and everything at first, but I feel like they felt kind of undermined by what I was doing to an extent. I believe they feel the accountability would be a thing as well. You know, if anything did happen, you know, you got to think about it. Who's going to come and deal with the problem? The police, do you know what I'm saying? I've got to the stage where I've built up like enough of a relationship with the community and the local authorities that they understand what I'm doing. I won't be arrested when I've got the knives. I've recently gone into a weapons pilot with the local authorities where they just make sure that I've got a medical kit in the car, a phone, and I just report the area that I'm going. They don't want a direct name, they don't want a direct person, they just want to know the area of where I picked up from, that the pickup went well, and where I'm dropping it to, and then that's it.
How many weapons have you collected?
The last check we done, it was just over 1,200 swords and knives, 17 axes, nunchucks, a shotgun, 2 handguns, a replica, and 2 tasers. In terms of people that message me for collections, man, there's a big variety of them. Mothers, well, I'd say it's the young man first themselves. I've seen so much relief from some of them, you know. They've got stuff in their house, yeah, that they can get in trouble for, that can hurt their son, that their son can get in a lot of trouble for. And when I take it and remove it from there, the relief in some of them is just like, it is a good feeling to know that I'm the person that done something that they never had no one else that could do.
How old is the youngest you've collected a knife from?
11. A young, impulsive, naive child who's driven by social media and materialistic stuff gets a knife in his hand. He ain't gonna know that the severity of stabbing someone until he's sitting in jail knowing that he's got another 10 years to do, or he's urinating through some sort of medical device, or he's dead.
How many weapons are out there on the street of London?
Well, all I know is that Metropolitan Police donate up to 2 tons a month of knives. If you want to start adding guns to that, man, it's just, I don't know what kind of weight's going to come up.
What kind of change are you hoping to make in the future?
I really want to start cracking down in these schools. The first person who's really on site if someone's got stabbed, it's going to be that person's friend or that person's family. And if you know that it only takes a matter of minutes for someone to bleed out, depending on where they've been stabbed, and if these young children are taught how to conduct first aid and how to put a tourniquet on and things like that, I really do feel like that could be the difference between life and death in certain situations. We're just trying to get a lot done in terms of education for the children in schools, but I feel like prevention is better than cure right now. I work closely with an organisation called Still Warriors. They're an organisation that they take metal donated from the police in terms of knives, and then they melt them down at the gyms for outdoor gyms. And I feel like it's just like it works, you know. The knives come here from a bad place, and they go there and get melted down and put into something that's going to be a good thing, you know. So I feel like that's the full transition there. It works.
Do you ever get scared of going to collect these weapons?
Do you know what, yeah? No, I don't get scared doing it. It makes me feel good doing it. I genuinely feel if the community weren't supporting me how it was, I don't feel like I'd be doing what I'm doing. I sat down and I thought about it. Would there be a time when I get a message and someone's to hand a knife and then I say, I'm not doing it? And to this day, I don't think I can come up with the excuse or the word no, I'm not coming to get it.
What would you tell someone who has a weapon and is willing to hand it in?
Contact me, hand it in anonymously. Like, there'll be no problems. I'll take the weapon off you, I hand it in, and you can be assured that it's out of your way, no longer your problem, and you won't get in trouble for it. If you carry a knife and you're not willing to hand it in, just make sure you're willing to go to jail or you're willing to die. There's no more to it. Live by the knife, die by the knife. It's that simple.
So as I reloaded and pointed the gun at him, is when he jumped in the back of the van. But I ran to the passenger side and then shot through the passenger side window.